There's this whole culture that's, trying to tell you that your faith is wrong, that it's like not cool to be a Christian, or it's like lame, you're wasting your time, all that, and like just trying to convince you it's not true. So I think the biggest struggle most like Christian teenagers have nowadays is just holding fast to it and like not being convinced by what the world thinks is true, and just holding fast to like what's actually true.
I think expectations that we get from like society to like after high school, you're going right into university, and you kind of have to like follow this plan that society has set out for you, and you don't really think about what God has in store. It's more of what society wants. And I think I fell into that, where like right after high school, I was like, okay, I'm going right into health sciences because like I had the marks for it, and I was told that that was good for me. But once I did it, I actually realized that God wasn't involved in that decision. So I think a lot of teenagers struggle with following not what God wants, but what society wants for them. And God's not really in the equation at all.
I think today, people my age really struggle with identity. I think that it's really easy to be distracted and to put your identity in your friends or your career or your school path or things like that. I don't think that we're taught enough that all our identity needs to be in is Christ, and we're fully complete in Him.
A lot of the things I find my friends struggling with is lack of self-identity and lack of being able to find themselves in society. And I think it's really hard considering all the things that the world says you can find your identity in. And I think for me, it's just been that constant drive to try and find that in the Lord.
Working here at MBC in youth ministries taught me a lot. It's been a blessing to be under people who have the same vision, who also have a desire to serve the youth and like see them grow. I think I worked here when I was 15 and 16 in high school, and it's cool now working with some of the same kids as they've grown up and like seeing the relationship that I've made with them, and just seeing how God has worked in their lives and how they've been encouraged over the few years that I haven't seen them. I also just think it's encouraging to come back and lead a team more and see and being fed into myself by the other staff here.
I think vulnerability is a huge piece. Like showing others that you're struggling is really important, because it's a step into becoming healthy and becoming strong. And I think as Christians, we're called to bear each other's burdens and to love each other well. And how are we supposed to do that if we're not showing each other that we're struggling?
I didn't know when I could talk about my faith and when I couldn't, because it's not allowed in schools anymore. So that definitely took a toll on my relationship with God for sure. About midway through, actually, when I came to MBC, and then when I went back to school last summer, that's when I really realized that nobody can stop me from talking about my faith. And that's what really helped me cope with it, is that I just never stopped myself from talking about it. I think that mostly because I'm surrounded by everyone who is okay with it, mostly everyone who's okay with talking about it. So that's when I kind of learned that it is always okay to talk about my faith and kind of relate to others who also go through the same struggles as me. People that are not Christians also have the same struggles, except they don't have God in their lives.
Community, again, had a place for me to become more vulnerable and to foster a Christian relationship, and just know that people that are surrounding you like are caring about you, and they care about your future, and they care about your well-being. And so I think community is more like a group of friends that just have each other's backs and support each other.
I think the biggest thing with living in a dorm with all of these people is that we can learn from each other's mistakes and kind of grow from each other's experiences, because we're all coming from like different families, different home lives, different schools, everything, right? So it's really interesting to hear about other people's growing up experiences and kind of just encourage each other.
All my friends helped me, woke me up for work. So I have to say thanks to him. I have to thank him later for that.
The community is just so uplifting, and it's just so empowering being surrounded by so many young people who have the same desire for the Lord that you do. And it's just so good to know that you aren't alone and you're striving after the Lord.
Bible studies and room devos make us really think about stuff in the Bible. It helps question certain things in the Bible, and it's nice getting to talk with a bunch of boys in the room, and we're sometimes we'll like joke around. And I feel like I might learn a little bit more patience from the kids here because, you know, kids can be a lot, especially when there's like a bunch here. Say like when I was back in Skippers, they all wanted me to play with them, play tag. That's tiring. And when I'm tired, you know, that could be a little bit harder to have patience, right?
Living like at home where I was working at Tim Hortons, it kind of just felt like I was like living my day to day, like go to work, go home. I just felt like I was walking through life with no purpose, really. But coming here, like I know I'm working in a Christian environment and I know I'm doing it for Jesus, so it makes me view my work differently. It makes me want to work. Like I'm not waking up dreading going to work like I was like working at Tim Hortons or whatever. Like I'm waking up excited to like serve my staff and serve the community in a Christ-like way where they all have the same mission and the same vision of what living in a Christian environment looks like.
Just being in an environment where everyone's striving after the Lord and striving to be like him, it's just empowering and just leads to so many good things.
I would say the main reason it adds to my life is because I have a bunch of friends here, right? This whole community, a bunch of people I really love. And I get to make food for them every single day. You know what I mean? Like getting to make food to feed the people that I really love. That's what makes it worth it.
So I am in charge of the staff, making sure they're getting orders out quickly, making sure we're prepping, making sure we're cleaning. Also to advocate for them in the community. So if I'm seeing something that's like going on in our work environment, we make sure that in the community they're being taken care of, because we don't want them to be two separate things, like work and community. They're supposed to be combined, and that's what Stepping Stones is about. So I think being an advocate for the staff is a big thing too.
I want to go into architecture, which is a lot of years, it's a lot of school, and coming to MBC, I realized that I don't want to just do that the next like 6 years of my life. So I've decided that I want to go to Cape and Ray, kind of extend this experience a little bit longer, to kind of just get that more like one-on-one time with God before I go into something that's really difficult. I think that's one of the biggest things that MBC has offered. Just being here and always like 24/7 being with people that are Christians has really helped my faith grow a lot.
We have dorm devotionals every week, along with praise and prayer and staff chapel, and our opportunities to go to just the regular chapel every morning. There's so many opportunities where you can take the initiative to grow in your faith, and there's so many resources available to help you through that. It's an incredible opportunity because while I'm also like developing who I am individually, I'm also surrounded by so many people that are helping me to develop my relationship with the Lord as I grow into who I am as a person. So it really helps you to grow into who you aspire to be.
I definitely think this is a place where you can really focus on your relationship with God. And for me, it's been a season of that where I've been able to take time in community with other people, be encouraged and poured into, and also just establishing a good routine of doing devotions on my own and spending time with God and practically seeing that through my work and through my connections with people here. And as I leave, I really want to keep those routines in my life. I want to continue to pour into others and be poured into myself and continually meeting with God every day and just, abiding in Him. I think that's something that I've learned a lot, is to really rest in God even when everything else either feels like a mess or feels like it's crazy, that God is consistent and that He's the same, and that's what I want to take home.
I always wanted to come back, and then when I did the SALT program, I learned a lot about my faith, and so it made me want to come and be more involved in the ministry rather than just the fun side of things. And then I worked here this is my 6th summer now. And every year I learned a lot more about who God is when I was here, and so it encouraged me to come back. And I really loved the community because it's very special here. And when I was a cabin leader, I loved working with the partner groups, and it gave me a really big love for kids and a love for the specific ministry of working with inner city children. And so when I went to university, it kind of dictated my degree as well. And I went into like a social work realm and counseling. And so camp is a very big part of my life, and it kind of showed me a lot about who I am and what I'm passionate about.